Good evening, folks. Welcome to the stream, our first of the day, and that's because we were having technical issues earlier. YouTube seemed to have been a bit weird for us. But anyway, we're back, and what we're going to have a look at is the start of what's going to be some sort of a crafting system. It's not going to be an extensive system, but it will be there where maybe you don't need to craft things, but you will need things to make other things work. For example, if you want to start a fire, you will need wood. Okay, so if you don't have wood, you can't start a fire. Okay. So, the other thing we're going to look at is our in-game time, and we'll see how far we get with that, and we'll take it from there. So let's get on with it, shall we? I have already started with a widget called wclock. Doesn't do a heck of a lot right now, except what we're going to do is we're going to add a function called update. It's going to be a custom event, and it's going to be update clock. Okay. And what it's going to do is get time get the minutes. Okay, we're not going to do that. Well, we might, but anyway. We should be able to do like a get in-game time. I'm pretty sure. Don't know which one I'm going to use yet, but I'm pretty sure it is elapsed time. Okay, I'm going to type elapsed. Okay, we're going to say game, get game time in seconds. That'll do us. And what we're going to do is we're going to say divided by 60. Okay, we're not going to say that. We're actually going to say remaining. Okay, and the divisor is going to be 60. We're going to forget the remainder. All we want is this one. Right? And then that is basically not going to be that. Right? We're going to get the clock. We're going to set text. Then we're going to append Okay. And then we're going to say to text, I believe. Oh, it's not that one, it's this one. We're going to say to text and we're going to append that and we're going to say minimum is 2 and actually our maximum is going to be 2 as well. Okay, and then this value is going to go in here, and then this value is going to go in here. Okay, so in the theory that should be us. Now we are going to have to fill it with something else later on, and that is when we start working on our game instance and stuff and our saved game for how many seconds we are currently on. Okay. So we can test this. Well, we've got a couple of little things to do first. We're going to have to go in here and then in our begin play, this part here, which we're going to start collapsing and stuff, right? So we're going to create widget, then it's going to be W clock, and then we're going to add to viewport. Okay, and then we're going to go into our clock again, and on our event construct we're going to set a timer. Okay, so we're going to set timer by function name. Okay, and this is going to be update clock. We're going to run it every 60 seconds and it's going to loop, and that should be us. Okay, meanwhile we have added a variable and a function. Okay, and we are going to close that down, and we're going to close that down. We're going to get our item data, and it needs, we've set another variable in the base interactable class which says need resource. Okay, and if it needs the resource, then what it's going to do is it's going to check first of all in our interact widget I'm just going to close these down for now. We don't need these. And we don't need that or that. Okay. So the next thing we need is our widget interact. Okay. Which is this one. Nope, it's not that one. That's for later. It's going to be in our interactables. So I'm going to minimize that, and first of all I'm going to make this bigger for you guys, since nobody reminded me in chat, you naughty boys and girls. But anyway, we shall carry on with that. That's done. We're not looking at that on, but what I'm going to do so that we don't confuse these is we're going to rename this to interact radius, so that we know exactly what that is. And now we're going to interactable items and widgets, and there's no widgets there, which is a bit weird. Okay. It's here. Don't know why it's there. It should be in here. Right. So it's this one here. And if we go to the graph, you can see I have earlier made this function which basically checks which items we need to make a particular thing. Okay? And now if we go in here, we say can use Okay, let's see what this is doing. So we do construct this, and it's not can use. Okay. So we do that. And this is going to be an OR, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to say this, and we're going to change this function to be pure. Okay. And this is going to be a not. Okay. And this is going to be an OR. And that is going to go in there. And we've got an item number to put in. Right? So we're going to drag this down. we're going to need this. So we need the item row number. Okay, so this one is actually going to go to here. Okay, we're going to have to think about this one. So we're going to have to say needs resource. And that is true. Right, but we're going to put that back in there, right? And we're going to delete that. Okay, because we're going to have a different condition here. If this is false, and we plug that in there, delete that. If that is true, and that is true, we branch. Right, so if this goes in here, right, so if we need, right, we're going to redo this again. So if we need the resource, or sorry, if we don't need, interesting. So if we don't need the resource, we go to there, right? If we do need the resource, we branch and if we don't have the resources, then we're going to there. Okay, I'm going to tidy that up in a minute or two. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to not pick up anything, and we're going to test it. Then we're going to pick up our wood and then test it. Now this isn't going to stop it happening yet, right? But it will stop it coming up in the menu for interacting. Okay, so you can see there that That ain't happening. Okay. And now we don't seem to be interacting with anything. Except that. Okay, I'm going to pick it up. And apparently we can use it, right? So we can escape that and I can press play again. Well, that's fine. But there's something wrong. In our interacts. Alright. For some reason, this is going bonkers. Now that's the way it was, right? So everything should work now. If indeed we are back to where we were. We are. Okay. That's okay. And that's okay. Okay, so wait a minute. That shouldn't go in there. That's the issue. Right, so we should be able to press play now. That's fine. That one's fine. Right. This one should not come up. It's not coming up with anything. Actually, that might be right. Right, if I pick that up now, and I go back, interesting. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break here. And we're going to add the breakpoint here, and we're going to check what this is. Okay. And we've got our brazier. That's it here. And it says needs resource. Okay. So we're here. So we can use it, and it needs a resource. Okay. So it should come into here, and it should run this. Right, so it's saying it does not have the supplies. Okay. And for some reason, it didn't get to there. So we can resume. Okay, and we're here. Right, we're going to stop that. Let's see what we've got here. Number of items, temporary count. Right. Okay. So we'll try this again. And we're going to go to our event graph. Oops. So we're going to go over and pick up our log, which means that we should have the right thing. Right, we're going to disable that breakpoint, and we're going to resume. We're going to pick it up. Right, and we're having resources, right, and it's item number 6. So we step over, step over, step over, step over, then we get our required what? Okay, we'll stop that. Required items. Now, is it row name? Ah, hang on. Hang on. Oh, we've not got a quantity. 1. Item. It's not the row name. Okay, that's fine. It's item number 6, right? So this isn't quite right. So we've got to do another get data table row names, and it's going to be required items. Then we've got to do a for each and then we've got a data table row, right? So we're doing that, and that's also going to be from required items. And then basically we break that. Now we're going to need another temporary variable in here. Right. So temp row, and that's going to be a name. And we're going to set it to none when we come in. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do is we're breaking these. Okay, so actually what we can do is we can change this to temp required, right? And it's going to be struct required items. Okay. And if the item equals right, we're doing a loop here. And basically, if this equals this, then we branch and we set this and we set that to that. Now this thing here should be a for each with break. Okay. That goes there. That goes there. We can delete that. That goes there. That goes there. That goes to there. Drag this down just a tad. And if we set that, basically we break. Okay. And that is us, except for one more thing, and that is that we don't do that, and we don't do that. Okay. What we do is we use temp required. Okay, and then we split the struct. Right, and that goes to there. And that goes to there. And that goes to there. And we will join this up in a minute. Right, I'm just going to get this all sorted out first, and then we'll get moving. So once we find our item, we break out of it. Okay. And this is going to go to here. And on this one is going to go to here. Okay. And that'll all work. Maybe. So we can try this again. Okay. So this is going to do it. So step over, step over, step over, step over, right? And we should hit here. So resume, and we did. And that should give us the brazier, which is right. So that gives us our item number. Okay. So now we should hit here. So resume that, and item numbers required is 1, and we have none. Perfect. We resume that. Resume. Right, we'll stop it for now. And we'll press play. Okay. So we pick that up. And now our interact should basically work. Disable. Resume. Disable. And it shouldn't go down that one, but we'll try it now. Resume. And there we go, we can light it. Okay. It tells us we can light it. And if we press play, we've got everything disabled, right? And you can see there that we can't do anything with it. Right, now I'm quite happy with highlighting actually, even though you can't use it, right? In theory, we could actually show it and just put that you need resources, and that would actually work, right? But you can see that if we now go, right, and pick up our wood, we can now light it. Now, we're not stopping you lighting it at the moment, but we can use the same code, okay? And we could actually move, and now actually, if I do that, it's because we didn't remove it for the inventory, okay? But it would appear to me that the best idea here is to basically add this function to our function library. Right? Which would be the sensible thing to do here. Okay, because this can basically then be used by anything that wants to use it. For example, we want to use it here, but we also want to use it elsewhere. We want to also use it when you actually click on it. Right? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this whole lot of stuff, I'm going to copy it, and then we are going to get our function library, wherever that is. I think it's in here, except it's not, apparently. Okay. So, where did I put our function library? That is the question. Did I put it in the pawn? Nope. I can only think it's still where it originally was because I've not moved everything yet. Or it might be in function libraries, of course, because that would be the sensible place to put it. Right, so we're going to add a function, and it's going to be called has required, and I'm going to call it items, right, because this might actually be used in a couple of different places. Okay, now the thing here is that if I paste that in, some of it hasn't actually worked, and that's because we need an input, and that is item number. Okay, and that's going to be a name. And that's going to go there. And is that going to run? Apparently not, because these need some local variables. We need to replace these local variables. Okay, so that's temp required, and that is going to be struct required items. Can we refresh this node? Right. Can we replace this? Yes, we can. And number of items required integer. Now if we actually go to the start here, we can replace that one, and then we do temp count. Okay. So the next thing we do is we replace this with number of items required. We replace this with temp count. We compile it. Those three are now fixed. And we've just got a couple more to do here, which is this one. Replace with number of items required. We replace with temp count. Replace with temp count. Compile. And we just need to replace these ones Number of items required. Temp count. Compile. There we go. And our last thing that we need to do is turn this pure. Save that. And if we go back to our interact, we can come to here, right? Has required items. And we can say has required items. Then this can go here. That can go and this is going to go in here, and that should be us. Let's test it. So that was me showing you guys how to use a function library. I just moved a function that's going to be used in multiple things, and you can see that I can't do it even though it lights up. Now we can fix that, right? So we can pick that up, and now when we go back we get to light it. Okay, so we can leave that as is, and I'm going to have a short break, have a drink, get a cigarette. Don't go anywhere, guys. Check out this, hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying the stream, and check the description for my Discord. You're welcome there, and you can support me on Patreon, the game and the channel, and also check out my previous game on Steam. All links in the description. I'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. Okay guys, we are back, and hello there to, wait a second, so I'll see who it is. To light config, how you doing? Okay, so we now have our function in our function library, which we can now use to actually check whether they can activate or not. Okay, so if we go to interactable items, which I haven't got open, but we shall open them right about now. We're going to have to add this to both of them, but that's fine. So basically, in our use item, this one, it's going to be check can use. Okay, and then needs resource, and we're going to branch off of that. Okay, and we'll keep moving this along bit by bit as we do this. So this is going to go in here. And if needs resource is false, we're going to do that. In fact, we'll just do this as a not to keep it all nice and neat. Okay, so that's going to go in there. So if we don't need a resource, we go straight to use the item. And if this is false, this is going to be interesting. What we need to do is has required items. Okay. Then we bring in our item data. And we break it. And we say item number. Then we hide unconnected pins. And we drag all of this up a little bit. And we're good with that. And now we get a branch here. Has supplies, and if that's true, we go to there. And if that's false, we do squat diddly. Okay. So, if we don't need, if we can use it, we pass through here. If we don't need resources, you can automatically use it. If you do need resources, we check to see if you've got the required items, and if you have, you go to here. Okay, now we are going to need another step, which is going to be basically remove items, right, from our inventory. Okay, but you'll now see that earlier on we could still light the fire, right, even though we didn't have wood. Okay, so we can go to here, and if we press the button, nothing happens. Okay, which is exactly what we expect. So we need to pick up the wood. We now have wood. And now we can light the fire. Okay. And our text block up top right, you can see it, is going to give us a time, hopefully. And there we go. Okay, now the interesting thing we could do here, believe it or not, is, well, we can actually do a couple of things. One of them, well, all of them equate to tidying up a bit. Right, but we could also add that widget when we build our actual. What I'm thinking is, I'll let you see, right? Best idea is to demonstrate. We have our clock up here. Okay. Hey, Rainy Hark, how are you? I'm good, I'm good. So, what I'm thinking is, put the clock here. Okay, in the center. I'm thinking that's a very nice solution. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm just checking what my colleague is telling me. I asked him a question earlier that hopefully he can let me know about, which he just did. I streamed twice, Rainy. I stream at 2 p.m. Central, which is, and 8 p.m. Central. Right, so I didn't stream today earlier because I was having technical issues with, for some reason YouTube wasn't working properly, and it was basically not streaming the video. So I had to miss today, but if you notice my videos, there's two every day. One at 2 p.m. my time and 8 p.m. my time. So I hope you understand that. So basically I would normally have streamed 7 hours ago. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this, right? And then in here, yeah, it's fine, Rainy, don't worry about it. Just letting you know. When we go in here and we don't do anything, it's that one. This is something we don't actually need, I don't believe. I think it's a remnant of... I live in Mexico. So we're adding our compass, right? And then we create the main HUD. So it's this one here that builds the rest. So if we go in here, it's in attributes. Okay, so it's actually the attributes. Okay, and now we've got our grid. Okay, so all we need to do now is add a pin, paste it, paste our stuff. Now we might want a reference to this at some point, not 100% sure. We aren't going to add it to the HUD though. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this. Okay, we add it to the grid. Our target is GP attributes. The content is that, but I believe it's going to be 1 1. Yep. It's going to be column 1, row 1, which is in the middle. Okay. And we probably do want a reference to this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into our pawn group, pawn. We're going to compile that. Then we're going to say W clock, right? And it's going to be a W clock. Okay. And then we're going to stick it in the category of widgets. Then we're going to compile that. We're going to go back here, right? We're going to get a ref character. W clock. We're going to set it. Right? Once I can stop doing stupid stuff like that, we can remove that, plug that in there, plug that in there, plug that in there, that in there. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to actually do is go back to our clock, go to designer, right, and we'll put 0 0 0 0, and then I'm going to change the font to the kind of heavier one, and then we'll see how that looks. Okay. And apparently it doesn't look like anything. Okay. So that's a bit weird. Interesting. Let's see. Does go there. It's got a none. Right, it's got a clock. We've got a reference. We've got our widget. got our attributes, 1 and 1. Should work. Ah, wait a minute, it's over there. Okay. Two, one. That would be the same as that. Okay, let's put it in a different row which isn't used. I'm just wondering if this is because it's got its own sort of canvas panel. Alright, we're going to resume that. And it's now over here. I know why it is. It's because I'm silly. Right? I believe it's because we've got it anchored not in the right place. We want it centered. Okay, and that should be 0.5, and that should be 0.5, and this canvas panel should be okay. Right, so we'll go back to our attributes and the graph, and we'll change this back to 1, 1. Right, press play again. Resume that, and there we go. And that's kind of awesome, except it's also not. Right, so this should be centered. So that's it centered now, but we need it to be a bit bigger on the font size, so we're going to go 40 to see how that looks for us. Okay, and now it's kind of a bit big. Okay, designer, and go with 32. Now the thing is here, I actually want it to center, and to me that's kind of not centered, although it kind of is. But I think we're still going to have to still go a tiny bit smaller on that one. Right, maybe 30. Go with 30. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, that looks good to me. Right, so we can pick up our big log again and test this out while we're waiting on that to move over. Right, we can light that. Right, we've still to redo this. The animations have been updated today, so I've got to basically update the animations for both the pawn and our zombie, but yeah. So a little bit glitchy, but that's because we don't have the animations for getting off the ladder, but it is working. But it's fine, as you can see. Right, our temperature when we get next to the fire is working. So you can see there, when I get close to the fire, the temperature goes up. As we get nearer to the fire, the temperature changes. Okay. We can get closer to it. Now, the interesting thing now, I didn't want to do that, is I want to turn it to night. Okay, now I'm going to have to do fair. Right, dynamic sky. So we want to mess with dynamic sky. So let's do that. Okay, so we'll come in here, right? And the first time it does it, we can basically do this. We can say get actors of class. Now we could actually set this up as a reference, which would probably be a good idea. And this is going to be dynamic weather. It might actually be dynamic sky. I'm not sure. We're going to have to find out. Dynamic weather. Okay, there's only ever going to be one of these, so we just say get copy, and we get copy at 0. As I said, probably set this up as a reference. It would make sense, right? Considering we're going off the sky, right? So if we come off here, we should be dynamic. Okay, whatever. Right, so my colleague tells me that it's the dynamic weather, but I'm not buying it. I think it's dynamic sky. time of day. Right, the time of day for the sky to emulate from 0 to 2400. Okay, so we're not going to do what it just said, right? So this is a dynamic sky. I believe. Right, what is this? Is this the blueprint? Or is this the other one? It's just got dynamic sky. Okay, well, dynamic sky. Dynamic sky it is. So we're going to say time of okay, so it's not that one. So it must be the other one. It must be this one. Okay. Time of. Is this? Have I missed what this was called? It is called time of day. That's ultra dynamic sky. Right, that's bizarre. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to say for each. Right, just as a laugh. Then we'll do time of. It does get it. Right, okay, whatever. Right, wait a minute. So I'll get a copy. This might have been the issue because it was still relating to the original. Time of day. So we set the time of day. And this is a float. Right, so basically it goes from 0 to 2400, right? Right, so I wonder if I say real. Okay. Well, whatever. It's 0 to 24 anyway, right? So it's basically going to be 24 hours, 2,400. So you get the time, and then you get the hours, and then you multiply it by 100, and that gives you your thing, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to say 100, right? And that should be in the night. Right? So if we add a breakpoint there, compile it, and then run it, we are going to have to wait for a minute, but this is going to be an interesting little thing. So we'll go there, and we'll light our fire and stuff. Okay. And the interesting thing is, why have we went into a weird mode for that camera? I'm wondering if that's because of the way I've got this window set up or not. Right, but when that goes to 1, it should turn to night. Okay, there's our minute. Okay, and resume. Well, it kinda has. Right, but has it really? There might be too many lighting things around. Right, I'm just wondering if there's some sort of basic lighting that's absolutely killing it. That's because basically it's not dark enough. That's the answer to the question, the multi-million-dollar question. It basically isn't dark enough. We have broke. We're going to resume, and that's not going to light anything. Oh, interesting. Apparently that wasn't working. Well, I'm going to call it a night there, guys. If you've enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe, especially the subscribe button. We've done well with that over the past few days, and thanks to you all for that. Check the description for links to my Discord, where I normally answer questions and stuff in there too. Also, there's a link to my Patreon to support the channel and the content, and also a link to my previous game on Steam, which is a little tower defense game. So thanks all for watching. I shall see you tomorrow at 2 PM Central. Bye bye for now.